San Diego, and what was that, June?
Well, since Wednesday night.
Wednesday night was a blowout game. That has no effect on it. That was him trying to mop up and save some arms. So simple as that. That had nothing to do with when he normally pitches. He was pitching just to cover the bullpen because there was guys who could use a day off.
It was the third consecutive game Rondon to give up at least 2 runs in relief. Matt Boyd tonight 4-5 with a 5.48 ERA against Colin McHugh, 0-0 at a 7.71 ERA for Houston. 6 p.m. the first pitch. Right here on 97.1 The Ticket. The Astros now 68-34. The Tigers at 45-56. Yankees overtake the Red Sox for first place in the AL East. Yanks do with a 6-1 win over Tampa Bay. And center Ryan Johansson signs the richest contract in Nashville Predators history, 8 years, $64 million. He tied for the lead league in scoring with 61 points last year. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 9701theticket.com.
Is a paid program. Views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of CBS Radio, its sponsors, or affiliates.
Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. Alongside of me, Harry Glantz.
Good morning. Starting off right. I like that music coming in. That's my music.
Harry, across the table, we brought in some powerhouse. Of course, always Alex Nefouse from Capital Mortgage Funding.
Good morning,
Alex.
How are you guys?
There he is.
What's up, Alex?
The voice of Woodward and RoyalOak and Berkeley and a lot more. The voice of a lot more.
Do you think they know that in RoyalOak, Berkeley, and the whole voice of Woodward?
Some people definitely, they know of him. They definitely know of that guy.
I hope not. I try to lay low.
And of course,
I don't bother anybody.
All the way from KellerWilliams and RoyalOak, Sherry Pyszczynski. Sherry, thanks for joining us. Good morning to you.
Thanks for having me today.
I can't believe this is Sherry's first time on the show, Harvey, because she's awesome. She's, as Alex said, she's normal. We like it.
But realtor and normal and mortgage guy and normal?
Yeah. Realtor and mortgage guy, normal, same sentence, kind of not really.
That's a rarity.
But that's good. Sherry's awesome. We were talking in the on the way in, and, we were talking about the number one reason, Sherry, we're going to get into it right away, Harv.
Go for it.
Right, so said Sherry, what's the number one reason that people want to move? And Sherry says?
Quality of life.
Quality of life. And we talk about quality of life issues on this show every week, Sherry. And it was so refreshing to hear you say that, because you also conveyed a story to us about that your husband says, what did he say to you? He says, you're probably the worst realtor out there ever because you tell people not to move?
Yes. Yeah. We'll go look at a house and someone will be very excited about it. I'm like, listen, I'm not sure this is the right place for you. And I'm pretty good at pointing out flaws.
I think that's wonderful because, as you know, on this show, we've been doing this show 17 years, guys. It's called the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show for a reason. It's because we don't give the standard answers. We don't, people ask us, one of the most dangerous questions you can ask one of the three of us is, so guys, what do you think? And then be prepared for the answer, because we tell people, listen, I know you think you can afford, and you probably can.
Probably can afford it.
Your income says you can afford a $400,000, $500,000 mortgage, but we'll tell you to go a little less because we want you to enjoy and have a great quality of life.
Absolutely.
So, you're like us. If you say to somebody, hey, you don't need this house or you shouldn't buy this house, I don't think you're a bad realtor. Quite frankly, I think you're the opposite. I think it's phenomenal.
You're a good realtor.
You're a good realtor.
Yeah.
You're a good realtor for doing that.
Buying a home, sure, definitely, and getting a mortgage has changed over the years. These days, those starter homes are going so quickly. And one of the things we're noticing that they're getting some rejections out there. Obviously, You're out there shopping for a home, your bid didn't get accepted, and then your whole bidding war thing kicks in, and then you're letting your emotions get carried away with you. It's definitely fun to buy a house, but it's a humongous responsibility. It's something that you just can't turn around and flip and sell the next day, especially in today's market. Maybe in 2009 to 2013 that was available, but today the home values are the homes are selling for what is going on in the neighborhood. You've got to make great decisions. And I think not so much that your husband, or we're joking with you, obviously kidding you, that the fact that you might point out the fact that there are some things wrong with this house that might not fit that buyer's needs. But on the other hand, it's all about the education and putting that process together.
Well, buyers today are a lot more educated than they were 5 or 10 years ago. 5 or 10 years ago, people would go ahead and they would say, hey, I want to buy a house. And when I would talk to them about comps or neighborhoods, their eyes would glaze over. Now, everybody that comes to me believes they're an expert before we have a conversation. They've done research on Zillow. They know Realtor.com. They talk about Z estimates, which that's a completely different topic.
Right.
What's a
We know
Z
about that.
Yeah, estimates on
got it.
Zillow.
Yeah, are they getting sued right now?
Maybe now.
Sorry.
A lot of people are.
It's just facts. Hey, as Harry would say, the facts aren't debatable.
The facts are
facts.
The facts are not debatable. And if you go on these websites, just because it says a house is worth X, it doesn't mean it's worth X.
Correct.
All right. And by the way, when a house says it's a beautiful wooded lot, stream running through, and then you get to the place, it's in a little shack with a little pond in the back that
remember the appraisal that we had. Harry helped me with an appraisal a couple months ago, and it said it was waterfront.
Yeah,
it was on a swamp.
Yeah, waterfront. Yeah,
We've seen some
Pop
of
your
those.
boat right on in.
It was
legit
rained
like
overnight.
It was like the bayou.
Waterfront, right? It rained.
Yeah, it was.
Charging extra for the bugs.
So you can't believe
But we're the bad
these
guys, though, because
right. You can't believe what you see on these websites, and that's why we send people out to the house.
Right.
That's why we have our appraisers do. When you buy a house, you have to do an inspection. You send your inspector out there. We send the appraiser out there. There are a lot of things that we do to make sure that what you're buying is real. And, I knew I liked Sherry as soon as I talked to her, and she said, I tell people not to buy houses. Well, that's what we do. We tell people not to take out specific kind of mortgages. And for the last 25 years, we've told people, unless you are in maybe the 10 to 15% that aren't going to be in the house for more than 2 or 3 years,
Right.
take a fixed rate mortgage. Be safe, lay your head down on your pillow at night, and do the right thing and take a fixed rate mortgage. Do not put your family in jeopardy.
Hey, let me throw this out there real quick. It's 9:07. If you're just joining us, you're listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We're open all weekend long at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Be sure to get your approval letter. And not only that, set the plan together. I mean, it's not only about approval letters, and I'm going to be asking Sherry some serious questions here about that. It's more about really setting up the plan because, Sherry, as you know, several purchases, of course, over the last few years, specifically, there's a domino effect out there that's really still taking place. And many of the sales somehow might not be contingent about that particular buyer, but it could be contingent upon another transaction with the domino effect. In other words, this family must sell, and then they purchase this home, and of course, there's the domino effect.
And that can affect a lot of different things, even occupancy. Even once everything closes, if somebody has, say, 60 days of occupancy, if your agent doesn't write something in the contract that says, hey, I get some notice, you could, 10 days in, all of a sudden you have keys, and now you have 2 mortgage payments. So you've got to put some safeguards in place and really
make your clients aware of that ahead of time. Set up the expectations.
Yeah.
Before the transaction even gets rolling.
But
Yeah, well,
so
I'm
many
glad-
agents don't.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys brought up the approval letter, and everybody on Facebook Live see everybody here. Here it is.
Yeah,
That's
a piece of paper, and it says mortgage pre-approval.
pre-approval. This is a real approval letter. They're pre-approved. And what do we do with the borrower on that? And we talk about it all the time. And we put provisions in here, and Harvey says, there are contingencies involved in it. But when we issue a mortgage pre-approval letter, everybody, right here.
Thank you.
Go.
Yep.
Facebook.
That's one.
We go over their tax returns, Sherry. We go over their check stubs. We verify what people tell us. And we just don't. We're not the mortgage company, mortgage guys that say, hey, no problem. Okay, yeah. And then when it comes down to, they go through 3, 4, 5 weeks of what we call the mortgage process, and then it comes down to a closing date and they can't close. No. We've checked out their financials, pay stubs, bank statements. We know where the money's coming from. And this is a real, as Alex Nefouse would say, this is a real bona fide, this is like cash. It's
as close as you can get to being a cash buyer without having a bag of money.
That's right. So, but we also put contingencies in there. We do put it on acceptable appraisal, title work, because, listen, there's 2 parts of the transaction. There's the borrower part, and then there's the property part.
And
right?
they have to line up.
And they have to line up. So both have to qualify. The property has to qualify and the borrower has to qualify.
Well,
people forget that.
Why do you want to waste somebody's time? Whether it be, like mine. Look, I'm not going to waste my time on someone that I can't get a mortgage for. And why would I want to waste their time either? I mean, it's just...
Right.
There's more fun stuff to do than waste somebody's time.
Well, we also know how important it is to make sure that you're getting the right program. In other words, your approval, if you're making an offer on a house, and if you're an FHA buyer, you need to have an FHA mortgage and an FHA approval set up, and your offer has to state FHA. So again, VA or of a conventional buyer, the program, the purchase agreement have to match. And that's why it all has to be done up front, and that's why the plan is so important. We talk about the knowledge involved. Sherry, you told me something that I didn't really feel. You said that the buyers today are more educated about it. Maybe they're just more educated about the actual house itself because that information's out there. But I still see a lack of education in regards to the mortgage process. And again, really preparing yourself, especially if in the last couple of years you're self-employed and you don't show any income, and then you're, a year later you need to pay off your land contract and you don't have your ducks in a row.
Well, that's very true. We have. I'm supposed to close. I was supposed to close a deal on Monday, and on this previous Monday,
You're the listing agent.
I'm the listing agent. The lender called and said, "I'm really sorry, but one of the buyers hasn't filed their taxes yet, and he's a self-employed borrower who has carryover losses." Well, that can affect your income. My question to him was, aren't you a seasoned enough lender that you knew to check that in advance?
Why 5 weeks in is this a problem?
No, we were 6 weeks in.
Sorry,
Yeah,
6 weeks in.
You know what? I'm going to try to err on the side of the lender here, as you knew I would.
Boy.
As you know I would. When you collect people's tax returns, and you could have this happen. I'm not saying it happened in this case because I don't know about the case. But there are people that'll tell you that they have their tax returns, they'll give you everything, and they swear that they filed their tax returns. And guess what?
You can have the hard copy of the return.
And the accountant
Not
never filed it. And you go ahead, and what happens is you go ahead and we double check because we have to re-verify everything, and we send in what's called a 4506T form to verify the transcripts of the IRS. The IRS sends back the verification, says, guess what? They didn't file their 2016 tax returns.
They have no record of it.
Now it happens, and I've seen that happen. And, people have to be forthcoming and upfront with you, too.
Of course.
So the client...
It's a partnership.
That could be, everybody, that could have been a client thing, too.
We'll just be honest about it.
Yeah, but things happen.
And you can file an extension. You have till October to pay
Right.
to actually file.
That's right. But you don't know that maybe the lender was trying to use the current tax returns because of whatever reason they needed the income. And then all they had was the 14 and 15s and all these carryover losses. So there's a lot of reasons. Sure, I'm not, like I said, I don't know the particulars, but I have seen it happen, and I just saw that happen back in April, May. When people think that they file their tax returns.
Were these my three clients that we?
No, it was one of your clients.
Okay, all right.
It's extremely unfortunate.
To be my client, Alex.
Good for you, partner.
Sherry,
I'm
no
glad
doubt.
you have problems too.
Extremely unfortunate.
It is. Well, especially on the part of the seller. So here they felt they weren't going to be making another mortgage payment. Taxes are now due. It's that time of year that if they don't have their escrow rolled in, now they've got to also cover homeowners insurance. There's carrying cost to these homes, and people don't expect and realize that.
Right, and then now hopefully this time of year you have some backup offers. It's maybe the only thing that's going on.
There's 9 backup cash offers every single way. Yeah.
Call out one of those.
Well, we have 10,000 over asking, and it's all cash. So if we don't close Friday, the deal's dead.
Moving trucks.
Okay. All righty, when we come back, all of your calls 248-539-9797. We're going to be right back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in RoyalOak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
It is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. You can call us all day long at Capital Mortgage, all week long at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. That's 1-800-569-7283. Of course, here live in the studio at 248-539-9797. Harvey Freed, Harry Glantz, and Dan Dubinsky from Skyward Realty giving you 1 hour's worth of the Hardcore Mortgage Talk. Let's move off to Michelle on a cell phone. Michelle, thanks for calling in. Go ahead with your call.
Oh, hello. Good morning. How are you?
Very
Morning,
good.
Michelle.
Thank you.
My husband died last year, and I've acquired quite a mess. And currently I found out I still don't have a death certificate from Canada where he passed away, so it's paralyzing me from closing out some other parts of the estate. I found out yesterday that on the home we own in Hamtramck, I'm not on the mortgage. I found the original paperwork from 99, and he is listed only as the borrower, and I'm listed next to him but I could have walked away from it according to what I found out yesterday. And I'm not quite sure what I should do in this situation. People are telling me to walk away, but then I've been paying the mortgage for the whole year, and then I gain nothing. Then other folks say I should just pay off the balance of the mortgage if I can get financing or borrow and try and sell the house outright, because right now I'm on the deed, but not on the mortgage.
Good. So chances are, Michelle, we'd like to take a look at the paperwork, and I'm not in favor of anybody telling you to walk away from anything unless they know your situation. So we'll have to take a look at that. That's number one. Number two is if you have a real estate attorney or a family member that's an attorney, you might want to run the paperwork by them. And number three is that there's a difference between being on the mortgage and being on the note. So the promissory note is the loan itself. So are you on the promissory note? Are you on the loan? The mortgage, as a spouse, you're on the mortgage, which means that you should be on the title to the property. You should be entitled to the property. So
I am. I'm on the deed.
So then you're fine. Then that's fine. But what you need to know is you need to find the paperwork, the note, the promissory note, and see if you're on the note. And
To see contest rules for 97.1 The Ticket contests, go to 97onetheticket.com and click on the contest tab.
Every week, Detroit Tigers manager Brad Osmus will join Jamie and Stoney to take you around the diamond on 97.1 The Ticket.
All right, welcome back to the show. You listen to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. You can call us at Capital all week long, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage bank. Are always here live in the show.
I want to sign up for that golf outing they're having.
248-539-9797. Then there'll be some mortgage people there to talk to, which will be good. Maybe we can help some people
Beautiful.
out.
I love that.
Like golf outings.
I'm going to do that.
Definitely want to hear from you this morning. Brought Sherry Pyszczynski in from KellerWilliams in RoyalOak. Sherry's awesome to talk to. Sherry, we were talking about setting up people for successful home ownership. And then Harry came in with the approval letter. And, of course, we always know that the beginning plan and making sure that you're approved in advance is the key. One of the things we do is we didn't really talk about is we literally run it through the DU, the automated underwriting system. It basically is the risk assessment, and it comes back and it will tell us if the client's approved or not. If they're not, then we can start working on things to fix them up. So very important still to this day, Sherry, that families really get in front of that mortgage person first and then meet a real estate agent before they even go out and look at homes.
Well, that's a mistake a lot of these rookie agents are making. They're just taking people out, running around, looking at houses. Then they'll say, hey, what about a pre-approval? Well, some people should be working with Alex and yourselves long before they ever look at houses. I mean, a lot of renters right now don't even understand they could qualify, with the different programs that you have.
Yeah, truly, with minimal down and seller's concessions, it really doesn't take a whole lot of money to purchase a house. And as you know, still, a lot of the sellers out there are very willing, because the values are up, they're very willing to work with a buyer and even give $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, even up to $5,000 in seller's concessions, allowing that homeowner to get into the house for, a lot of times we see $5,000, $6,000, whatever it might be.
Exactly. So I showed a house yesterday in Sterling Heights for $260,000. My guy was considering buying that, and he's like, well, how much down will it cost me? I said, well, if we can get the seller concessions, just your down payment, and he's FHA. So, I mean, that's less than a $10,000 down payment to own
Cash
a
to
home
close.
in that kind of neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not that difficult. I mean, people just, you have to educate your clients and walk them through it. And here, our job's not that hard. I think sometimes clients make it hard, or people involved in the transaction make it more difficult than it needs to be. Here, be honest and be nice. It's not rocket science.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're
not doing brain surgery here, man.
But you got to put a process together and a procedure, and your documents have to be all together, so you're not scrambling at the last minute. Because Sherry, as you know, with the competitive bids out there, not only is it so important to be approved, but truly you got to be working with a lender that can get you done in a timely fashion, because your offer might be accepted because, especially, we hear it all the time, because they do have an approval letter from Capital Mortgage. We're told by the agents out there that that's why they took the offer.
Let me ask you a question, Sherry. How much weight do you put into the firm that issues the pre-approval letter or the approval letter?
A lot. So I put a house on the market Thursday. I got 4 offers yesterday. One of the biggest parts was talking to the lenders to find out who's truly qualified, who truly has been through underwriting, who's had their credit pulled, and that's how we decided whose offer we were accepting.
There's a lot of weight that goes into that. I mean, if you're dealing with whatever.com from Delray Beach, wherever, I mean, there's not a lot of weight that goes into that. I mean, if you're a seasoned agent, you're going to pay attention to that.
You better stick with the local lenders
Yeah.
you've heard of, somebody you have a relationship with and know they can get the job done. But also, along with that offer, it's just not about the lender. It's also about the terms, too. And it's not always the highest price. It's about how long somebody can stay in the house. And last week, guys, we talked about it on the show. And, the terms have to be right. We automatically assume, and I think buyers assume, Sherry, that when somebody sells their house, they want to get out right away. No, people want to stay in
Well,
their
that's the
house.
opposite. It used to
So
be.
sometimes the terms that if you allow somebody to stay in their house longer than another offer, that could break the tie. That could break the 50-50.
Very often. I've probably won 6 or 7 properties like that in the last couple of months just by offering it, better terms for occupancy, either longer occupancy or occupancy at a lower rate.
Right? Or free occupancy.
Well, I try to do that more with my sellers than with my buyers.
Right.
But if you absolutely have to,
What did I say? Be honest. Just be honest.
Right.
Perfect.
Well, yeah, it all depends who you're working for, right?
And we had that happen. We had that situation happen last week. We talked about it on the show last week. We had a person made an offer. There was a significant amount of offers on this property, and the terms were in the offer that they were going to allow these people to stay in their house. And they, I'm not going to say that they didn't charge them any rent back, but guess what? They didn't charge them any rent back.
Yeah, fair enough. 248-539-9797 if you're just joining us.
Did I just say they didn't charge any rent back?
You said you lost me there. You said I'm not going to say they didn't charge any rent,
Yeah,
but
well,
then you said
I'm on the radio, and I don't want everybody out there driving in their car and all the realtors get very angry with me. Then there's this guy on the radio that says, make offers to sellers and don't charge them any rent.
It's all a case-by-case basis. Doesn't matter. I mean, it's,
everything's negotiable.
Yeah, every
Everything.
transaction is different.
All right. You got to put it in writing, too. 248-539-9797. If you're just joining us, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We answer questions, direct questions about mortgages and real estate. Always bringing the professional. Sherry Pyszczynski here joining us. Home ownership has ticked up again. And, of course, after the Great Depression of, 2008 and 9, the home ownership really went down. People were bailing out of their houses. They were squatting in them. But things have changed considerably around town. Home ownership is back up, especially here in Southeast Michigan. The Midwest is leading the way at 68% home ownership across the board. And Sherry, one of the things is the rents have gone through the roof.
They have.
You know, everyone bought up. There was outside investors even coming here to Michigan. We had families, investment groups outside of the country coming here and buying up as many homes as they can. And it drove the prices up. But more importantly, it ate up all those rentals out there. And they're getting top dollar for rentals. It's just less expensive to own a house here in Southeast Michigan.
I absolutely agree with that. However, as a landlord, I'm not going to complain about some of these other issues.
Well, I think you're never going to have a problem. You know, again, for the families out there that are buying investment homes, there's a great segment of the population here that they're not stable. In other words, they're not going to stay here for 2 or 5 years.
Being a landlord, it's a job. I mean, it's
a full-time job.
Yeah, I mean, it's
yes.
not just you're not just collecting a check every month and cashing and going out, you know, and saying, oh, I'm netting whatever $500 a month on this rental. I mean, there's stuff to do, man.
Yeah. Well, we looked at buying investment property as long-term investment. I mean, I own some properties that there was no cash to be made. Every month we're putting cash out, but at the end, I own a property.
Okay. And then how much equity did you have in it? Because last week, if you guys remember, we had a gentleman that called on the show. I think he had a $90,000, $95,000 mortgage on a $135,000 house. He was netting a positive cash flow of about $150 a month. Now, that's $1,800 a year, you know, and as Harvey mentioned, he said if that hot water tank goes, he's done. So the question was, should he sell it now while we believe that the market is hot and get out of it, or should he keep it and refinance it and make the cash flow go from 150 to 250, if you remember that? The answer that I gave was why. If he can get out of it and make a profit, then maybe he could take that money and put it into a different investment.
All right, we're going to be coming right back to join you here. It's 9:26. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll be right back.
And Dale Jr. in his number 88 degree deodorant car takes the checkered.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in RoyalOak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
If you're just joining us, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Also, you can send us an email to mortgage.show@lowrateonline.com. Always find us at Capital Mortgage, 248-LOW-RATE. That's 248-569-7283. We got some calls that are lighting up, and there's a lot of good information we still have to get to. But let's cruise out to Brian out there. Brian, you got an interesting question from Waterford. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, or gentlemen. Quick question. What's your opinion of rent with the option to buy?
Well,
is there advantages and disadvantages?
Yeah, there is. It's worked out for some families. There's no doubt about that. The problem becomes you get tricky with it. At the end of the day, it's really security for the seller of the home. Why? Because instead of renting it to a person who has no interest in the upkeep of the house, they're renting it to you, who potentially will buy it one day, 2, 3, 4 years down the road. But the future is sort of unpredictable.
Well, Brian, are you finding right now that you have a seller willing to sell you a property with the rent the option to buy, or what do you have?
You know what? To be quite honest, I'm not in that predicament at all. And, I'm just
right
a few years away from and I'm just exploring my options as well.
Yeah, it's not real prevalent right now because the market is so hot. Usually, a rent with the option to buy comes into a play when a seller has a hard time selling a property. Dan Dubinsky, you want to chime in on that? I mean, right now we're not seeing a lot of rent with option to buy.
No, we're typically not. Okay. Usually that's for purchasers that can't qualify for a mortgage. And what happens is there's two things. A lot of times you'll put a chunk of money down for that option,
Sports news all day, every day. This is 97.1 The Ticket.
Brought to you by Kowalski, because it's not a picnic without Kowalski. Quality. Tigers fall to the quality Houston Astros 6-5 last night. Astros 68-34. Tigers now 45-56 after losing 6-5 to a 3-run homer by Josh Reddick in the 8th off Tiger reliever Bruce Rondon. On in relief of Jordan Zimmerman, who went 7 innings and only had 80 pitches. Matt Boyd tonight 4-5 with a 5.48 ERA for the Tigers against the Astros. 6 p.m. the first pitch. Right here, a 97-1 The Ticket. Yankees overtake the Red Sox for first place in the East with a 6-1 win over the Rays, while the Red Sox were falling 4-2 to the Royals. NHL center Ryan Johansson signs 8-year, $64 million, the richest contract in Predators history. And it's Martin Flores, the midway leader at the PGA's Canadian Open. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 97.1theticket.com.
Helmet-to-helmet contact. Legal here.
97.1 The Ticket.
All righty, welcome back to the show, 9:31. Good morning. If you're just listening, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Show. Get out there, enjoy the day. First, call that and get that approval letter at Capital Mortgage. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. You're going to save a ton of money, really learn how to buy a house. The best mortgage banker, 1-800-LOW-RATE. Right here in Southfield. Also live here in the studio, 248-539-9797. We've got a lot to get to. The lean inventory out there.
Not lean inventory. Stop.
To appease my friend Alex Nefouse. Freddie Mac pointed out that it's tighter in some local markets, 4 to 6 months throughout the nation. But of course, you can back me up on this, Sherry. 2 to 3 months supply here locally, and homes are coming. Look, they're coming off the market real quickly if they're in great condition. We'll talk a little bit about staging and all the other things out there. But if you're looking to buy a house, be sure to give us a phone call here, and we'll get you approved and set up with some of the top agents here in Southeast Michigan. Sherry's definitely one of them. Hey, let's move on to some calls. We've got Rick out there calling in. Good morning, Rick. Thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Good morning. I just wanted to commend one of your loan officers based on everything you guys are talking about. We assembled a plan, and we were able to get the property of our dreams in 28 days.
Oh, fantastic.
Wow, 28 days, that's really good.
Tell us who you worked with from our office.
Ron Jacobs.
Ronnie J.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Ronnie's over a 20-year veteran in the mortgage industry. Ronnie does a solid job. He's a very, very hard worker, and he probably sat down with you in person and explained everything to you.
Well, he did. He definitely went through the whole process with us, got us the pre-approval letters. This is a guy that went on vacation and stayed with us, in contact with us during that whole time to make sure that this process happened.
So that must have been just recently, because he just got back from vacation. Ronnie never takes a vacation, but he went out to Boston to visit his son.
We closed in 28 days. We closed Thursday.
Love it. Well, thank you very, very much for the call. We appreciate that. And, all we are is just a bunch of hardworking men and women at Capital Mortgage Funding. We do take the time to sit down with our clients, educate them, go over an entire plan with them, and map it out. We're there with you. We're there with you before, during, and after the process. So thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Rick. Thank you, sir.
All right, have a good day.
All right, if you'd like to join the show, 248-539-9797.
Ronnie Jacobs, great mortgage guy,
Yeah,
terrible Parker. He does not pull all the way to the like his
he doesn't want to hit that bumper.
The
You
back
smash
end of
your
his
bumper.
car is always 6 feet behind where the yellow line
He doesn't
stops.
want to jazz up that underneath thing carriage that I crack all the time.
Hey, Alex, we got a call from the 1980s. They want their sweaters back. Ronnie has them.
Oh, gosh.
So,
He has all of them.
So last week, Harvey,
yes,
we had Dan Dubinsky in here, and Dan brought in, and just to refute and kind of go against with what popular thinking is right now, there's over a 4-month count of active listings on the market right now. Here it is, 4-month count.
That's not a shortage of houses.
I didn't say that. That's what I'm saying.
I know.
Alex.
I'm agreeing with you. We're on the
with
same
you.
page.
Yes, we are. Here it is. It's on this page. It's on this page right here. So that's
Well, one of the things we talked about too, Sherry, actually, it was sort of interesting. We had a couple conversations throughout the week, and I mentioned to you something. A lot of the families out there, again, with the contingent offer.
Yep.
You're out there, you're in a competitive market, you haven't sold your house yet. You do want to use the funds to eventually put down on the new house, but you can't be contingent in today's marketplace because no one's going to accept a contingent offer. So I mentioned to you, when families sit down with us and they realize that they can only put down 5% down, they can use the money out of their 401k, out of their savings. They don't have to sell their house. So important to find out if you qualify with just a little bit of money down. Don't make your offer contingent. And then I mentioned to you, Sherry, that you said more people need to know about. We can recast your loan. Come to Capital Mortgage Funding and really do this the right way. That's what I'm
what
urging
is
you to do.
recast?
Explain that, buddy.
Recasting is a real simple thing that we allow families to do. It's a one-time opportunity. So if you buy a house, and we'll use some round numbers here, for $200,000 and you just put 5% down, which is $10,000, well, you might be in a PMI situation, Harry, and you finally do sell your house, and you're going to take the proceeds from the sale of your house. You can recast the loan, remove the PMI, and again, take the loan amount down, let's say down to 160. Now the loan is recast. Your principal and interest payment is lower. This is different than just making extra payments towards principal. Recasting means that it's been recast to the lower loan amount, and now more of your dollars will go towards principal.
And you don't pay the PMI
payment
anymore.
goes down.
And then you can also get rid of the PMI at that point. And it's a great opportunity. And again, I think that would allow more families to prepare themselves. And again, we talk about educating buyers. That's why we want you to call Capital Mortgage Funding. So thanks for sharing that with me, actually.
No problem. Well, the one thing I always talk to people about when we first sit down and they're like, well, I want to move, especially the move-up buyers, I always ask, what is your worst-case scenario? Is it worse for you to have 2 house payments, or is it worse for you to possibly sell your home before you buy something? So they have to look at that. Now, the recasting the payment makes a huge difference. I just had that happen with a couple. They sold in RoyalOak. They bought over in the Birmingham area. And they didn't want to have the stress of selling before buying. So that recasting the payment is what really saved them.
Not a lot of firms do that. I mean, if you go to whatever conglomerate, you're not going to be able to recast your loan.
Yeah, they might make you refinance it, and we don't.
Yeah, and guess what? And guess what? And charge you again.
Exactly. 248-539-9797. We got lots to share with you. Again,
what happened to Shane? He was on the
about
line.
to go to that call.
Well, his comment was, now is as good a time as ever to buy in Detroit.
Okay.
Correct. Shane, call us back. Give us a call back. Also, the question is, how long does it take to have PMI dropped? All right, somebody's been in the house for 2 years. How long does it take to get PMI dropped? Well, there's no guarantee when PMI is going to be dropped. What we can do for you is the house has to be appraised. And then it's not necessarily a guarantee that if we send that appraiser into your servicer that the PMI is going to be dropped. I'd like to talk to that person who has that question.
The ticket text?
Yeah, but we don't do ticket text. But I'd like to talk to him and say, hey, listen, let's take a look at the house, and maybe we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Maybe we can lower the rate and get rid of the PMI for you.
All right. 248-539-9797 if you'd like to join us and learn a bit about mortgages, or if you have a question. One of the things we like to do, especially with any of the buyers out there, is really prepare you for being a successful homeowner. A couple things we can throw out there not to do, of course, is don't go ahead and get new credit cards debt. Don't messy up your accounts.
Alex, I couldn't wait. Harvey brings this up. You know how Harvey, I bring up the A word to you?
He doesn't even know the story. He doesn't even know what's going on.
So there are some rules. There are some rules during a transaction. If you apply for a mortgage, you cannot run up your credit cards. You can't go buy a new car. You can't. There's certain things that you just don't want to do because it could throw your debt to income ratio out of whack. In other words, your liabilities start getting out of control in the middle of the mortgage process. And there are people out there going to say, well, Harry, who would do that? Why would you do that in the middle of applying for a home? Alex Nefouse, what do you have to say about that?
Myself and my team, and we send your application package out, and it's really easy. It's all via email. You can click through it. It's really simple. We have the do's and don'ts of getting a mortgage. I mean, and it says, like, the first thing, don't open new credit cards. Don't buy a car. Like, don't go to whatever furniture store and right. Don't walk into Restoration Hardware and run up, $20,000 in credit card debt. And man, I'm telling you, Meredith and I, she is my go-to girl. Yeah. That is my balance. I have Natalie, my real life girlfriend, and then I have Meredith, who's my other backbone, corporate wise. And Meredith and I spent so much time on this file, and we finally get it all ready to roll, and you do what's called a credit refresh prior to closing.
It's clear to close.
Yep,
and then what we do is we have to verify everything before closing.
$20,000 in credit card debt.
Brand new?
Yeah.
What did he buy?
I don't
A lot of stuff.
Who cares?
Well,
The
probably
deal's
furniture
dead.
for the house that he's not now not going to qualify for.
Stupid.
But you can't do that.
Look how mad he is about it.
I'm upset because I wasted Meredith's time. I wasted Tanya, my processor's time. I wasted Harry's time. He's involved. I wasted Mary, the process manager's time. There's literally.
And how many hours have you spent talking about that deal?
This is really the first time I've really vented about it. I was so mad about it yesterday. Meredith was like, just go home, Alex.
Don't worry, he'll be on the couch this week about it.
Well, it segues into.
I'm on the couch a lot.
He'll be on the couch.
It segues this into a conversation about really getting your plan together, and we talk about it often. But so many families out there, one of the major league problems with the millennials originally was so much student loan debt. And again, any family out there might have a lot of the student loan debt. So there's ways you can consolidate that debt. But again, if you meet with the mortgage people and we can show you all the numbers ahead of time, you'll have that energy, you'll have that motivation to call and go ahead and make that deal. Get your debt to income ratio down so you can go out there and buy the house you're looking for.
Well, one of the things that I think is really important to know is even if you're not going to buy a house this month or next month, if you're thinking a year, 2 years, I never think it's too early to meet with one of you guys to get themselves on the right track. That way. Because I run into these people and say, oh, no, I want to buy a house, but not until I pay off this or I pay off that. And they haven't met with anybody yet that really knows what should be paid off and what doesn't need to be paid off. So many of these people don't understand. If you have 3 credit cards, look for the highest interest rate. Pay that one off first.
Right.
But, work with you guys to get themselves ready.
Yeah, you really got to be prepared to make that whole transaction work. Hey, let's go off to our call now. We got Darren out there in Northville. Good morning, Darren. You had a question about, I think, that PMI. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, I got my loan with you a couple of years ago.
Hi, buddy.
Here in Livonia.
Cool. Good morning.
Good. How are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
Good. So my loan got sold, so I'm with a different servicer now. And they're a pain in the butt to deal with, like put on hold very often for long periods of time that I can't wait. So I've still got that PMI, and my escrow went up a little bit because it came in short, last year or whatever. So
the taxes went up a little bit?
A little bit. So I guess that's a good thing. But I'm still stuck with this PMI, and I'm not sure exactly.
What's the mortgage balance right now, Darren?
I think it's at 154.
And what's the house going to appraise for if we did an appraisal?
I would hope over 170, but who knows?
Why did you just say over 200?
I was just saying, me too. And what rate are you at right now? What do we have yet? Interest rate?
4.875.
Yeah, there might be. Yeah, you could.
Yeah, I can fix this for you.
An LPMI.
Give me about 20 minutes, and I'll call you right back. We'll fix it for you.
Thanks.
No worries, man. Enjoy your week, and I'll call you shortly.
All righty.
Thanks, Darren.
Thank
See ya.
you.
All
Thanks,
right.
Darren.
Also want to throw out there's a lot of great programs out there that we have. Hey, that's right. If you're a doctor out there, we have that new doctor's loan. If you just graduated med school or you're going down that path, we offer that's right, the doctor loan. Also 3% down conventional, the Freddie Mac Home Possible Advantage program, along with FHA, VA, USDA. We offer all the programs at Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800 low rate. When we come back, all of your calls.
The next.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in RoyalOak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800 low rate, the best mortgage banker.
To the show, 9:47 if you're just joining us. And not too bad outside. It's warm, that's for sure. July 22nd, 2017 in Southeast Michigan. Go out there and hit the balls around. Have some golf. Go fishing. Do something fun. How about buy a house? Call Capital Mortgage Funding. Ronnie J's in the office. He will get you an approval letter right away. Just call 1-800 low rate. That's 1-800-569-7283. You can get an approval letter today. You can gather your documentation up and go out there and have a real approval letter and make an offer with confidence. Deal with the real professionals at Capital. That's the key.
And also, if you don't want to call in the show, you can watch the show on Facebook Live right now. You can hit us up on that. And also on Twitter. We don't tweet, but we have people that do. We have social media experts because, I don't want to get into a Twitter war with anybody. But if you go on Facebook Live, you can like us on there. We'll send you... we can send you updates if you want, but just check us out on Facebook Live, Facebook, and Twitter.
Like our page. You can always de-like us if it doesn't work out.
Or if you don't like us. How does that
Send your
work?
comments. Cheers to the region. I like this. Cheers to us folks here in Michigan. What a great state we are. Would you believe this? That's right. We're back to work here. We're working overtime. We salute all of you folks that have been making your payments on time because we did not make this list. This is the bad list. This is the list of the 5 states that are still leading the way in foreclosures. We are not on that list.
We used to be on that list, which was we were at the top 1, 2, or 3, and now that we're not because, like I said, we've come back. Our property values have come back significantly. We're in a great shape here. And again, as we said, and we always give you the honest, hardcore truth, we're always the first ones to go in and the last ones to come out. But life is pretty good in southeastern Michigan, the whole state of Michigan right now.
I'll sort of go backwards. Number 5, Connecticut, 4, Illinois, 3, Maryland, 2, Delaware, and 1, New Jersey. Of course, New Jersey. It's hard to keep up with the Joneses. I mean, you got to really work hard. You overpay for your house in Jersey. You're at the nail salon. I didn't say that, did I?
Oh, man.
I didn't say that.
New York, your bigger brother right there.
Hey, refinance your home. There's so many great opportunities in here. Of course, at Capital Mortgage Funding, we'd love to help you save money on a refinance. For years, you've heard us talking about what we do for families. We've urged families to take a look at lowering their term down to a 15-year fixed. Take a look at whatever you're doing out there. If you want to consolidate your first and second mortgage and drop it to a 15-year fixed. But Harvey,
it seems in vogue now to talk about shortening the term to a 25, maybe to a 20, to a 15, when we've been saying that for years. Years and years and years ago, it used to be other people would say, oh, go on an ARM, go on a 3-year, 1-year ARM. What are you, nuts? Now, all of a sudden, people have come back to reality, and we're talking about fixed-rate mortgages. We've always promoted a fixed-rate mortgage. 80% of the people out there should be in a fixed-rate mortgage. The other 20%, if you're not going to be in the house for a long period of time, if and only if you can commit and say you're going to move within a certain period of time, should you not be on a fixed-rate mortgage.
And Anderson on 97.1 The Ticket. You can always hear their highlights at play.it, your new podcast network for best-in-class on-demand shows.
Welcome back to the show, 947. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800 Low Rate, the best mortgage banker. Always live in the studio, 248-539-9797. We are on Facebook Live. Always like us on Facebook Live.
What does that mean
Check
when you're
us
on
out.
Facebook Live?
It means you can go to Hardcore Mortgage Show and be a friend to us, and then you start getting the feed.
Is that on the Capital Mortgage Funding Facebook page?
You can find it there also here. Again,
Okay, so we're
a little behind technology-wise.
So what
just
do
you
we
and
have?
You can find us anywhere out there. We're on Twitter. I even think we're now on Instagram.
These are setup questions.
We're on Instagram?
These are called setup questions.
Hey, let's go out to Bob out there in AuburnHills. Good morning, Bob. Welcome to our show, sir.
Hello.
Bob, what's up, man?
Yeah, hi. I'm trying to get some help, trying to get a loan so I could finish working on a home that I bought.
Okay.
It's under construction. The house is not currently lived in, and work has already begun, and I'm having trouble trying to secure a loan so I can get a contractor come in and help me finish the job.
I have a great product for you where we can actually there's an as-is value and a subject-to value. So we do an appraisal based on the value as it is right now before the construction is complete, and then we have a subject-to value. So you tell the appraiser and the contractor what you're going to do, and then we appraise it based on that. And you get the money that way. It's easy.
Plans and specs. We see the whole deal.
It's fairly simple.
What's the place going to be worth when it's all done?
I don't know, maybe $450.
And what are you getting into it right now?
How much am I into it right now? Probably about $275.
And how much more do you need, money-wise?
I'm hoping to try to get it done with about $150 more.
Huh.
That
At least from
I
a
was
loan
hoping you're going to
point of
say
view.
less.
yeah, that doesn't that doesn't make sense
No,
mathematically.
from a loan point of view, right? So I still have some money, but not enough to finish.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. So if you got $250 into it now,
And another 150. So at the end of the day, if you're 400,
and it's worth how much you say at the
it
end?
might be worth 450. What city is the house in, and how many square feet is it?
It's in Auburn Hills,
Mm-hmm.
Michigan.
And what school district is that going to be? Is that Avondale? Is it Pontiac?
I believe it's Pontiac School District.
We got to do a little research on that. I mean, I have a product for you. I don't know if we can get you the $100,000, but I mean, we can definitely get you. There's definitely options for you out there, Bob. It just there's a lot of moving parts in that transaction.
Yeah, we're going to find out a lot about you, Bob. We'll call you after the show and really appreciate the phone call. For any family out there who's in this situation, again, and
Bob,
Bob,
thanks, man.
Really appreciate the call, Bob. We'll follow up with you. Sherry, we talked about it sort of at the beginning of the show. It's, do you really have a plan? And I'm telling you, we have the program because the program really is for families that didn't have the plan. They didn't get their financing ahead of time. They've obviously run out of money. They can't complete the project. So, yeah, there's a great mortgage program that'll help them. But at the end of the day, the plan has to be there. Is the house going to be valued enough based on how much money they're putting into it?
And $450 in Auburn Hills with the Pontiac School District, that's a tough number.
It's going to be a little tough. We have a lot of education because we've been around a while. I happen to know some of the different cities have
Just
different.
closed one in Auburn Hills, Pontiac School District. We were a block out of Rochester School District. If we were a block over, it would have been $450, but instead it was $360.
Yeah, you got to be really.
That's why
really knowledgeable.
location. We've heard that forever. That's been the theme in real estate for a long time. I like that fact that he's building a house.
Yep.
He's rehabbing it. He's doing whatever he can do. And again, we talk about quality of life and a lifestyle. And sometimes you just have to do your homework, check it out. Let's do the numbers for you. And I think there could be a program, Alex. You'll get him into that that renovation project.
Yeah. It's a great loan. I mean,
yeah.
it just has to make sense. I mean, we got to make sure the value's there on the property.
But you're seeing more of that now. More people are working on their homes. More people are taking care of it. If you drive through a Lowe's parking lot, which I know you find it hard to believe, I do very often.
Really?
I'm not saying I go in, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Date night for me is Home Depot.
Yeah, right. So
I just go for the hot dogs.
I'll go through Home Depot. I'll go through Lowe's. And what that does, that's an indicator of people working on their house. And people are staying in their homes or making it better because of quality of life, because they like the school district. They like the area. They like the shopping. They have the friends in the area. They have they love their neighbors and their families in there. So they're staying in the house. Yeah. Because guess what? It's hard to find something to move to. Alex, you're a prime case in point of that. You were looking. You made a decision. Hey, I like it around here. I like doing whatever I want to do. I like it here.
Alex, you were looking for 3 or 4 years.
How long have you lived in Berkeley now?
Oh, my gosh. It's been in Berkeley since 2001 or 2.
Right, been there a while.
There you go.
So my second
right.
house in there. Right in St. John Woods. I love it, man.
I want to throw this out there real quick because we're coming up towards the end here. 248-539-9797 if you want to sneak in here at the last minute. A lot of families went through some tough times. We know it. You're coming back to us now. If you had bankruptcy or foreclosure in the past, be sure to call Capital Mortgage Funding. We probably have a program that fits your needs. There's a difference between a Chapter 7 and 13 and a Chapter 11, and it's different whether you had a foreclosure and a bankruptcy or both. So call the experts.
Chapter 11's corporate.
Yes,
so
I know.
That doesn't apply.
To most. 1-800, right?
I got to tease you a little bit, man. I've been good for almost an hour.
You're doing okay. 1-800 low rate, obviously 1-800-569-7283. But truly, get in front of us sooner than later, and we can really do a lot of things to help benefit you. Again, how long was your discharge ago? And again, your situation could vary. There are extenuating circumstances that sometimes come into this also. So if you're out there and you had some tough times, you don't think you can become a homeowner again, be sure to call Capital Mortgage Funding. And a lot of times, you might have had an FHA foreclosure, and it might not even cleared the Cavers yet, which is a whole other conversation. So there's a lot of reasons why you have to get in front of the mortgage people.
Way to lose half the audience, Harvey.
Yeah, I know, and I'll lose them. Did you guys want to jump in with anything? Sherry,
Go ahead. Yeah, sure. Go.
Well, I just wanted to say that even with the with bankruptcy, again, it's such a good idea to talk to you guys, because people don't understand that after a bankruptcy, they can get financed, but they can't get behind in their payments. They can't go back to their old ways of making late payments. That's got to be like a fresh slate, fresh start. So it's really important to get with a mortgage guy to understand how am I going to be moving forward with my future?
Right. We'll show you different ways, again, how to get credit established. Even if you just came out of the bankruptcy, you can reestablish credit. A lot of times, families have done the Chapter 13s that held on to those credit cards and stuff, so they still have ongoing credit and they can move forward. Let's see if we can get this call in real quick. Joe out there in Monroe. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, it's actually Joe in Clawson now.
Oh, okay, Joe.
World.
Morning, sir.
All right. No offense to the folks in Monroe, though. Go ahead, Joe.
Right. Yeah, so me and my wife, we got married last year, and we're trying to take our new step and either purchase a house or renovate. We live in Clawson right now, and we're kind of really like our neighborhood, so we're leaning more towards renovating. But we're trying to figure out how we would secure a loan for that, because I think the renovation, what we want to do, we want to add a dormer, would be a little bit more than with the equity that we have in the loan.
Joe, I just did this exact same loan for one of my buddies in RoyalOak. It's I mean, here, I don't know how handy you are, but I mean, it's a lot of it's not perfect. Me neither, brother. Yeah, I bought my girlfriend like a whole tool set for Christmas. Like,
she's handy. Natalie knows what she's doing.
But Joe, anyway,
she probably loved it.
She did. She was very happy. Joe, it's actually it's a great question. It's a very simple product. There's a lot of hand holding we'll have to do, but just with contractors and what you want to do and this and that. But again, it's Clawson's an awesome area. I think it's outstanding. Again, there's an as-is value, so let's just say for the sake of BS, there's it's 3 bedrooms right now and 1,200 square feet. You want to add the dormer upstairs, and I mean
that's exactly what we have.
Yep, perfect, dude. Give me like 5-10 minutes. I'll call you back. I'll get you rolling. It's an awesome product.
Appreciate the call, Joe. Awesome.
All right.
Hey,
awesome.
Guys,
thanks, Joe.
That wraps up another version of the Hardcore Mortgage Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. If you're listening, be sure to call Capital 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We want to thank Sherry Pyszczynski from KellerWilliams. We're going to have you back, Sherry, for sure. Thank you very much.
It's great being here. Thanks so much
all
for
right,
having me.
thanks. And again, if you need a great real estate agent or mortgage banker, call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. We know all the best here in Southeast Michigan. For Harry Glanz, Alex Nefouse, I'm Harvey Freed. We got Pat Caputo coming up with sports, social commentary. Keep it here on 97.1.
See you guys next week, baby.
Hi, Harry Glanz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in RoyalOak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.